Some of you might be wondering, what the hell am I looking at? Well, that is a computer backup UPS, and usually you get 2 of those in one of these. This thing is rated at 900 watts. I'm pretty sure there's some kind of surge compatibility. Getting tongue twisted here. Anyway, we're going to convert that to run off batteries that are much bigger than those. And it's going to power a small, kind of like a storage building where I keep all of my internet cells, stuff, and whatnot. So it's basically going to be running a little computer. It's like a laptop in a little box. The only thing you need is a monitor, mouse, and keyboard, and we're also going to be running a printer from that. So this thing again is 900 watts. That thing probably pulls roughly 150 watts. A printer is questionable. I'm going to be looking around for a printer that pulls something low. And LED lighting. Well, the LED lighting is a non-issue because we can run LED lighting all day long on this thing and probably those 2 batteries and not have to worry about it too much. Jumper wires. That's going to be my series wire that's going to hook from positive to negative on those 2 batteries, so that we hook those in series, because this one's on 24 volts. And then our 2 main lead wires that's going to run to this to power that. So pretty much what we're going to do is I'm going to hook this thing up. As you can see, it does have an AC cord still hooked to it. We're going to hook this thing up to those batteries using those wires, and we're going to show you exactly why we're going to be using this UPS. Oh yeah, and before I forget, if you're asking how I came across this, it was actually donated because I don't know how that happened, but it's broken. But it's only the case that's broken. Everywhere else on the body of it is perfectly fine. It's just somehow this got broken out of it. I don't know how. Don't ask. I didn't ask. Wasn't too worried about it. But anyway, it's a CyberPower 1500 AVR. You can look it up if you want to. And you probably see the upside down name right there in the model. And on the tag, it says model 1500 VA. Okay, but anyway, it's rated at 900 watts. Doesn't really say it on here, but it does consume some wattage if you plug it into AC. Let's see. Yeah, outlets 125 volts, 12 amps at 60 hertz, 900 watts. So that confirms that. So I'll get the front of it here pulled off. I got to remove that screw. The front slides off. Batteries go in. Front gets put back on. Screw goes back in, and then that's basically how they come. But we're not going to do that. We're just going to pull that off, hook the batteries up, turn it on, and we'll show you what it does. Okay, as you can see, I got a battery just kind of sitting in it for now. Just to give you an idea of how they fit. I can't remember which way it goes in, if the posts are out here or inside, but either way you'll get the idea of it. One goes in that way. The other one goes in like so. And there's usually like a piece of foam or some kind of divider in here that separates them so they don't short out on each other or smash posts from each other. And this is your negative wire, and this is your positive wire. And remember, this is 24 volt. So there's a jumper wire that goes from one battery to the other while inside of this. And when the battery's in there, this cover goes over the top of it. Wires in the way up here from the display, but nevertheless this goes up here like so, and it goes back together, and then you plug it into the wall using this plug, and it charges the batteries. And if the power ever goes out, this will almost instantaneously kick over onto battery power, keeping your computer safe and last long enough that you can save your work on your computer and shut it down before this actually dies. And if you happen to be away somewhere, like you went to the store real quick and the power goes out right when you leave and this is on, 9 times out of 10 your computer is going to be done. But you shouldn't be really doing anything on your computer anyway and not save your work while you take off. It's always a no-no. Okay, so we got the face of it off, and pull the battery out. Basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to eliminate the power cord, and the main battery connections that are up here are going to be rerouted to where the power cord exits. And then we're going to be connecting these to our bigger batteries and use this basically as our power supply, but also our main power switch for the building. So when we come in our building, this will be sitting off to the right side of the door or left side of the door, whichever our door swings. As soon as you come in, just hit the power switch, lights come on. Got power for the computer so we could turn it on and the printer, do our work, and when we exit, just turn it off. I didn't have the right blade connector, so I had to use one of these. And it's like, oh no. But I kind of squeezed it together so that it will work in there. So we're down to this. Slide it in as much as I can. Again, this is just temporary for testing. I've already got my series wire ran from positive to negative, and then I got my negative wire hooked up, but I don't have it plugged in over here. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in the positive. And last but not least, we'll plug in our negative. And these batteries are not fully charged, but they are about 12.4 volts when I checked them with the multimeter. So they'll last for a little bit to test. And look at that, it came on. I forgot to turn it off. Now that's one of the things you want to look for when you find one of these UPS power supplies, is ones that will turn on without being plugged into AC power. So if you got it plugged into the wall and it turns on, turn it back off, unplug it from the wall, let it sit a few minutes, then try to turn it back on. If it turns back on and it's not plugged into the wall, it's a keeper. Sometimes you have ones that have just like a little momentary push button for power. Sometimes you got to actually push that button and hold it until it comes on. This one is an actual switch, like I'm not even sure what you call it, but it's an actual switch. When we push it in, it actually locks in. And then when we turn it off, it locks outward. So it locks in the on position and locks in the off position. So we're good there. We know it comes on. Let me grab something and see if we're getting power output. Just a quick note. This one has, what has it got? 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 8 outlets on the back of this. This strip over here of 4 actually runs off of batteries. So if the power does go out, this is the side that you want to plug your computer in, or lights or whatever. So if the power does go out, they stay on. So if you want your stuff to stay on when power's out, this is the side you want to do it. This here is only a surge protector on this side, so if power goes out, so do those outlets. Okay, I got our trusty LED light bulb plugged in to the proper outlet on the rear of this device. So let's see what happens. Boom, we got light. And as you can see, it's still not plugged in. So, a lot of these things when they do power up and they are not on AC voltage, they will beep at you if they're programmed that way. There is a serial port on the back of these things that you can, if you got the program that come with the thing when you bought it brand new, you can program it for an audible alert if power's out so that it'll keep beeping. We're actually going to be eliminating the beep hard inside, so we're actually going to disconnect the buzzer because we're not going to want that thing beeping, because I don't have the cable or the software to deactivate that. So we'll be eliminating that and the beeper inside of it. So now that we know that it's going to work, let's get into tearing it down the rest of the way. And we turn it off and the power goes out. Okay, when it comes to doing videos like this, one of the crazy things about getting something in a case like this is figuring out how the damn thing comes apart. Well, so far I know there's 6 screws that got to come out. After that, I don't know yet. So I'll go ahead and get these out and we'll go from there. The way yours comes out, or how yours comes apart, may be very different than the way mine does. Well, that was kind of promising. Okay, and I could tell I'm going to get interrupted, so I'm going to pause the video and I'll be back. Anyway, I got all 6 screws out of the back, and we do have wires attached, so we can't really pull it out too far. But as you can see, our cover is loose back here, so that means we've got screws somewhere else that are holding the front of this guy together. You know what, let me disconnect this so that we got that out of the way. And looks like we got two spots for a screw there and a screw there, most likely. Yep, there's one, there's 2. So I'll go ahead and pull these out real quick. I don't know if this screwdriver is magnetic or not, so yeah, our screws are going to stay in place. And yeah, there goes our cover. Try and do this. One fell out. The other one don't want to. I don't want to lose it. Come on, you bugger. Okay, well, that one I'm going to put up in the magnetic tray. And we'll use a probe to get this one out. There. Got it. Okay, we're off the tripod for the moment. First thing I got to figure out is how. And this just pops out, but what I want to do is run those 2 wires back around through this where the power cord used to go. And I got to figure out how to unhook these. There's 3 of them, black, green, and white. So I got to figure out how to unhook those. And last but not least, but right here, sorry about the shadow, but right down there, that little black circular looking thing right there, that is our piezo beeper thing, and that is going to get removed so we don't hear this thing beep anymore. So I'm going to take a little bit of a poke around and see what I can do, because mostly on most of these things, usually these AC wires just plug into a board, but I have a feeling that might be one or maybe two that don't plug in. Now, this is why I need my own studio, because every time I start doing this, everybody wants to come out and chit-chat. What I got to do is I got to figure out how to feed this wire over to there, or, well, both of them actually, or extend them from here and run them some other way, maybe back, loop them through here and around and back out to where the AC wire came in. And when it comes to the green wire that's coming into this, I'm going to clip it basically right off at the strain relief and extend it out, so this way we can ground it to grounding rod or something outside the building. So this way we still have our ground. Circuit breaker will no longer be in play because it actually is only in line with the power cord. So we're actually probably either going to pull that out or we'll just leave it in there so that way there's no hole. And as soon as I get wiring done, well, actually, you know what? I might get rid of this stupid piezo buzzer now so I don't forget to do that. So, I don't know if I should just pop it off with a pair of pliers because it's only 2 connections. And if I have to desolder it, I'm going to have to pull the whole board off. So, let me think about that. Well, I decided I'm just going to pop it off with a pair of pliers. And if something happens that doesn't look right, I'll pull the board and desolder it. So, here goes. Oh, and I just popped the cover off. Huh, okay. I don't know if that's actually part of it that makes it work, but I don't want none of it in there. Well, there goes another part of it. Another idea. I'll tip this thing upside down and get the rest of the junk out. That's what I thought. There's just 2 little legs, and they're too short to contact each other or anything else inside of it, so we're good. No need to pull the board out and desolder it. Save time. So we'll no longer hear this thing beeping when we turn it on. Okay, when it comes to the hot wire, black wire, we're actually just gonna lop it right off at the circuit breaker. And like I said, we're just gonna leave that in there. It's not like I'm worried about weight limitations or anything. And the actual ground wire, I'm gonna lop off here at the strain relief. And now that's gonna leave us with this one white wire, the neutral, which is going to our surge protected side of the outlets. I'll lop that off there and throw the old power cord in the scrap bin somewhere over here. Of course I missed. And I'll pull the white wire off of the board and we will cut that off too. Now I'm going to see, yeah, it's soldered into this side, which is the battery side, but it's soldered in, so we can't actually pull it out. I thought maybe it went to this other board over here, but it does not. It does tie into it eventually, but does not directly tie to it. So we'll see about extending that. I'll have to get in my bucket of wire and see if I got a green wire to match that. And we'll just run it through here along with our positive and our negative. We'll have 3 wires coming out, so this will tie to a ground rod, and then the red and the black positive negative wire that comes out of here will go to batteries. What else is there? I think that's pretty much it for destroying things. Trying to keep it somewhat close together. Should be pretty much. I wonder if maybe I should hook this thing up and test it real quick, make sure everything is still functional. Probably not the best idea to do, but let's see what happens. Okay, we got our control panel hooked back up. We got our batteries hooked back up, power to the unit. We got our LED light bulb back here, plugged into right here. Remember, the far side that's just surge protected is no longer in use. Only the battery backup side is. Let's see what happens. And there we go. It turned right on, no beeping noise. Now internally, this thing is beeping, it's just we don't hear it anymore. So that's it. So now we'll turn it back off. Get some wires ran out the back. I'm thinking about maybe going and fetching that power cord that I threw on the other side of the garage and getting the strain relief, somehow digging that out, so that I got to run the battery wires through it and put it back in so it kind of looks good and my wires won't get worn around the shielding and short out on each other. We'll be back. Okay, I came over here, put the black, green, and white wire in the vise and pulled them out of this. But obviously this is not going to be big enough for my positive and negative and ground wire that's going to come out of the UPS through here to batteries. So we're definitely going to have to make this bigger, and I'm going to kind of try using this bit at first and then stepping it up to maybe a bigger bit. There's a piece of metal in there. Yeah, and that's hot too. Whew. But I believe we made it through. No? Bit went through. I can see a little bit of daylight. Yuck. I'm not inhaling either. Oh, well, that's what happened. It broke. It's alright, we can still use it. Just won't use that part. See, get in here the right way and work from the other direction. I think I could fit all 3 of them through that. See if you can see it. Just kind of clean out some of the shrapnel inside here. Maybe not. Yeah, either way, it'll work. Hopefully. Okay, I had to go dig around in my wire bucket and see if I could find a piece of wire that's adequate, or at least around the same gauge wire as this, but everything I had is either too small or very, very large. And I don't really have any other wire around. I'm not going to go buy it because I got a bunch of it. I found this piece. It's quite a bit larger, but I don't have connectors for the size of that gauge wire. I did find some ground wire that's perfect, and I did find a piece of green wire for my grounding rod, so we'll use that for that. And what I'll end up doing is digging around some more to see if I can find another piece of this somewhere else, maybe that I got stashed away in another spot that's probably not so stiff. Other than that, yeah, we'll have to use this. So I might have to pause this video and go to the auto store and get some connectors that will fit this gauge wire. I imagine this is probably a good, I don't know, probably 8 gauge or so. There's no writing on this stuff whatsoever. So that's it for now until I get back, and I take that back. I do have some connectors. So what I'm going to wind up doing is just lopping off this blade connector and then just butt connecting it and running it out, and this way I can get it done, and then all I have to do is just put another connector on the end of this to hook the batteries. Probably do like another blade connector type connection, maybe extend the wires to the batteries or something, but that's what we're going to do. So I'll go ahead and get that done. Okay, I actually wound up finding another butt connector for that, so that way we got both of them done, and the ground lead is done, and they are routed through the strain relief. I did tie a knot up here thinking that they were going to come all the way up here, but oh well, kind of messed up. So I put a zip tie around it for now, tightened it up on there pretty good so they won't pull through the strain relief, even though I don't think they really will. They're pretty tight in there. And we got them cut pretty much to equal lengths. So all I have to do is go to the auto store, get the proper or appropriate connectors for these, and they will be ready to go. So now I just got to put it together, and that's it. We're pretty much done here. I'm not going to really go through too much more about getting it put together the rest of the way, but I will come back and show you after it's all put back together. Well, all done, all back together. As you can see, got our ground wire, our negative or positive sticking out the back. All I have to do is throw some ends on that, and when I get everything set up to hook to batteries and stuff and lights and all that good stuff, hook those up to the batteries, and this is going to be powering my little shop or storage building. Again, these ones are no longer used. They won't do anything anymore. These are the only ones that will when this is on. So I hope you kind of enjoyed that. Hope you maybe build one of your own. Why buy an inverter that's going to do the same job when you could just make one for free?